Hello, this is Benjamin. I'm going to discuss the makeup lab, which is talking about dirty cow um, race condition. So I tried. I could have tried like running it on my So I'm running on my other laptop, which is supposed to be the one that has virtualization, because currently the laptop I'm using right now does not let me like run virtualization, and I'm still trying to figure that out. Um, but as soon as like I finished running like the previous this specific lab, um, I think well, it's not I think, but something messed up with my virtual machine, and basically telling me that the virtual machine cannot be allowed to write no more, and then the terminal something about the terminal saying that it only access to read, and to read only. Yeah, there we go. Read only like access. And I'm trying to, and I've been like trying to figure out how to like move that. I had to like reset the, I had to like remove like the original um watch machine for the C Ubuntu 12.04, and I'm still having an error because it only happened as soon as I try to download that cow attack file, and then after that everything just started having issues. I was able to run commands such as let me see, these basic commands creating the ZZ file. But earlier when I was running like this file, because I did both, like typing the whole file typing the whole code out, and also try to go to the website and try to like download the actual attack program, which is ideal because I never thought I could just download the file and it automatically pops out. So that was like a cool thing that I learned. But either way, as soon as I downloaded this attack file, the whole program would just say turn like this tunnel is read only, like read only, and I cannot figure out how to edit, like type anything, create files, create doc. um I just couldn't create, I cannot write anything. So I was only allowed to read. And I went to root and try to see if I could do anything. I looked it up, but I wasn't able to do so. But for now, I'm just going to explain like from here of what I have, from like what I've done with the previous lab before I had to reset it up. So this is the startup section where I had to recreate a virtual machine. So what I had to do is I had to go to the website where I had to download um, a desktop CD option for C Ubuntu 12.04. And as I said, I downloaded the desktop CD, the 64-bit desktop CD option. And as soon as I did that, I went to the virtual machine and tried to create a VM. I called this the makeup, and then I make sure I set it up as Linux, and make sure that the version was Ubuntu 64. And basically up to this prompt, I will create a virtual hard disk, and then it will ask me to pick basically any. This is basically what I did for like the Windows one, where I had to like download a Windows this image, and then this is basically what it is. So I just create that, continue on, and after I finish that, I go to the storage and I change the optical drive into the Ubuntu 12.04. And after that, I start running the virtual machine, and it turned out great. So from here, I won't show you like all the whole process. I just want to show you this image so you know it worked. And I had to install the Ubuntu, and after that, yeah, it takes me to this is the start of task one. So this is as soon as I got 12.04 working. As I said, I guess I'll talk about like how I did like how I created the cow attack. So I either wrote the whole thing, but I had to like use the G edit program. I can't. I was having issues with the terminal issues, because for some reason it was bugged out, and every time I try to move up and down, it just does something completely weird. It types A above like the code I was writing. So it was prefer I prefer so I had to like use gedit. I had to use the gedit software. But I also went to the actual website. I had to send it to myself through Firefox through my Gmail, and I opened it to this website, which is the actual link to this whole lab. And I downloaded the cowattack.c, and it immediately just saved the actual file. But that was when I was having problems. So like, as soon as I saved that file, wasn't able to like write anything else. I wasn't able to write any sort of other files, nor can I like create any copies of the file, because like I said, it was read only. So this is just the contents of like what was in that file. But if I were to restart this whole lab again, I would do this first, create the zzz file. So this is just all the commands of what I did to create the ZZ file. This is, I use the gedit, type this whole code in. The point of this task is to change the twos into stars. I'm pretty sure I'm using terminology incorrectly, but astrophysics, I believe, is the other name for it. But I either one. But the point is to change the number of twos. I think it says so in this program. So yeah, so the white thread would be writing this in placement of, see, I believe, yes, right here. So we're trying to replace this with this, and I was able to do that. So after I created the ZZZ file, I showed that it was able to read and writable, and I also enter these commands. Next, I make sure I compile this program here, that original attack C program. And as you can see, this is for like task 2, but yeah. So I used gcc attack.c lp thread because I have p threads in here, which is going to be the reason which is the important pieces of this lab, because that's how you read and write the actual programs. So as you can see, this was successful because I was able to run this program, and it changed the actual context of the file. So I went from this to this. For task 2 is something similar, but this time we're going to use real life applications. So we will have to, for task 2, we're required to create a test user, and from there we would be able to change the user into the root user with using of the previous files that we had used earlier. So basically how we change the numbering, the characters here, we'll be changing like the numbers. So, well, the addresses to be exact. So that way, tests will be able to have root access. So when you log into, by the end of the lab, when you log into tests, you'll be able to log into root through tests, if that makes sense. But I'm gonna explain more as we go down. So obviously we need the etc password. This is just the context of the etc file, etc-password file. So we would copy the etc password file and move that to the ZZ file, just to make sure we have the original there. Because I mean, either way it works if you want to just edit this one or just edit this one, but just make sure but I just want to make sure that I keep the original file intact. And I did it incorrectly. Well, to me, I mean, I did it right, but what I should have done is just edit this one instead of this one. So this lab, I edit this file instead of this file, because I will explain as soon as I get to the code. So this is how. So I log into test. This is the actual ID. This is what we're gonna. This is what we will use in our code, and this is what is gonna be. This is what we're gonna use to change the test to root user. So this is basically all the information of the test address test user, and we will exit. So we'll exit test user, and next we will edit out the attack file. So let's see. So this is in the int main, where this is we're gonna edit this from ZZZ. You could keep the ZZZ if you want, and because we already copied the etc password to the ZZ file. But the point is that so this is what we want to open, and over here we change the instead of changing the so instead of having the 222 like in the earlier file, we change it to 101. So that means when we go to here, which is the void, what's the name? The white thread. Yes, the white thread. We going to change that. Change this 1001 to 000. So that will give test the root user. So as you can see, we run it. We compile it. Yeah, I compile it. So GCC attack 2C LP thread, because this thread state, which is an important piece of the lab, and it will print out the a.out unit, the a.out program. And as soon as we run it, and then we enter, and we then after we run it, if it's successful, we will type sudo test, and then it will ask us to enter the password for that. I think I don't know, but I believe you enter a password, but at the end you will have the root user basically. So right here will show you the root user ID, and basically it just gives you partially root access. And as you can see over here, it went from test into root, and that's the end of this lab. I thought this lab was actually fascinating because I never knew how exactly coding or like hacking works, especially with Dirty Cow. I mean, I never expected that it's a little bit of computer science that was integrated into here, and then with that with the computer science, you'll be able to basically what's the word do crazy things, basically like changing like tests to root. That's actually kind of fascinating. I could see how like people use this for real life applications, and it was actually probably like one of the most interesting labs I've done so far. Yeah, that's it for me. So